Hi there. Welcome to the Chinpoco Motorsport YouTube channel. What have we got today?
You see, here's the thing. We got to thinking, which car, especially in our western parts, do people usually have in mind when they say right-hand drive Lexus?
The Celsior?
There you go. It's not the Aristo or the Wyndham, the Harrier or the Cygnus, it's the Celsior. So today we've brought out a Celsior ucf21 with a stylish walled body kit.
When you see me, I'm in uptown, baby. What you know about me? Oh, nothing really. Well, it's changed that. See, I came back, I took a break, but now break that. Formerly known, yeah, I made that. And them cartoons every Saturday. Get your breakfast, tell them play that. I got lines like dark codes. Y'all got jokes like Bart Simpson on bar phones. How you acting dumb on your smartphone? Fish is a man, so I stay looking. Catch the next like I'm straight.
Today we've been lent a 21 Series Celsior. This one's a pre-facelift car. The front end is pretty much the same as in the 10 Series car, however the aerodynamics have been revised extensively. This car has a drag coefficient of just 0.25, just like in the next generation. You can actually tell that by its fuel consumption, which is considerably lower than in a UCF10. However, this car does have an aftermarket walled body kit, which suits the car wonderfully. It looks great. It has some 19-inch rims. Personally, I'm not a fan of 19s. But these go very well together with the body kit. This is a lovely car. On top of that, I'd go so far as to say that the pre-facelift car looks even better than the later model. This is one of those few examples when a pre-facelift Toyota looks nicer than the modernized version. There's really not much to talk about exterior-wise. Unlike the Majesta, the windows on this one are not frameless. Here we have some slots, which means the glass always follows the slots when going up or down. You can see the caps right here. That's a nice touch. Over time the glass does start to play around a bit, but here they've solved that issue. The glass always follows its slot. Now that's some forward thinking right there. To be honest, there's not much else to talk about here. This one has a sunroof, some nice wheels and a body kit, and that's pretty much it. Let's talk about the engine bay. The engine bay is packing a good old 1UZ-FE. And let me tell you, this is one seriously durable motor. For those who don't know, this is an all-aluminum V8, with this particular model not being equipped with Toyota's VVTi system, and it utilizes distributors. They did update it a bit though. The UCF10 Celsiors had 245 horsepower, while this one has 265. The car goes faster, but the tax rate goes up as well. Well, in Russia anyway. Everything is nice and tidy, it's all covered with some plastic. This motor is pretty bulletproof. It usually doesn't give you any trouble at all. So there's really not much to discuss here. It doesn't consume any oil, it goes, and that's the end of the story.
A roomy cabin allows for you to get really comfortable behind the wheel. The armrest here is quite wide and nice. The seats are fully power operated, including the seat backs, the headrests. It goes up and down, back and forth. The steering wheel is power adjustable, tilt and telescopic, all at the touch of a button. It's also got some leather trim. You can also adjust the seatbelt height by pressing a button. Over here on the dash you've got controls for some of the features in the back. The only button that the driver would care about is the one that switches off the traction control system. This car has two glove boxes. The one at the bottom is a full-size compartment. The one above that is good for storing some napkins, plus it contains the CD changer.
The rear view mirror in the cabin is power controlled, and it has an automatic dimming function. So if the car behind you is blinding you with its headlights, the mirror protects the driver's eyes by dimming out. If I remember correctly, this should also have, yep, here it is. We have a sensor which is triggered by oncoming car's headlights and adjusts the dimming function so that you can see what's going on behind you if you were to be blinded by oncoming traffic. You can switch this function on manually, or you can press the auto button, and it will decide what to do in any given situation. The center console contains the cigarette lighter and the ashtray, which has a micro dampener. The armrest has 2 layers to it. You can open up the top section, which is cooled down by the air conditioner. This is the so-called cool box, where you can stick a few cans of Coca-Cola or any other beverage of choice. The second one, however, isn't refrigerated. It is quite deep though, so you can use it to store all sorts of things. The cup holders, they are pretty ballistic. They kind of scare you a bit when they fly out. And next to the transmission selector, you've got some transmission mode buttons for switching on power mode or normal. You've also got a button to adjust the air suspension. You've got 2 choices here, normal and high. One of them gives you this sort of normal ride height, while the other one gives the car a bit more ground clearance. Up here we have a sunroof, which is of course power operated. As is the case in any other Toyota, you can bring it up slightly, or slide it all the way back into the roof. This car is also fitted with the optional wind deflector, which you can adjust to deliver air to either the driver or the passenger. The sun visors come with some vanity lighting. Some of the high-class Toyota sedans come with this nifty feature. It's a special visor which blocks the rearview mirror. The side mirror on the left automatically lowers itself when you put the gearbox into reverse. This is done in order for you to be able to see the rocker panel, the rear wheel, the corner of the rear bumper, which helps you avoid slamming into a curb. I highly doubt that whoever bought this car new back in 1994 really cared about trunk space, but in any case, for those who are currently purchasing these cars in Russia, trunk space is a thing. This was obviously a concern to the owner of this car. The trunk here is full of all sorts of stuff. There's actually quite a bit of room in there. The trunk lid meets with the bumper, which makes for a decent loading height. It's pretty easy to get cargo in there. I have nothing bad to say about this trunk. What do we got back here? We have a massage function. Let me switch it on for you, and I'll switch on yours. How many settings are there? It keeps going faster and faster. It just keeps going faster. This is pretty. Maybe you should count them. Are you nuts, dude? It's easier to hold it and wait. The last one is like... I think that's enough. The massage function is pretty awesome. By the way, this thing has massage on both sides, unlike the Majestas of the same vintage. Those only have a massage function for the left seat. And that's not only the case for that generation, they still have massage only for the left passenger. Even the newest generations of the Majesta. Regardless, the Celsior has it on both sides. You can also move the front seat forward from back here, but only on the left. I'm not surprised. Check that out! It's even folding the headrest. What else have we got here? Each half of the rear bench can be moved back and forth. It works for your side too. It looks more like a left side thing. This side is a bit wider, yeah. That there's the leather. It is a bit squeaky. You don't get that with velour upholstery. Let's go at the same time. Now the other way. Awesome. It is pretty cool. When you move the seat back and forth, it automatically reclines the seat back. You can also adjust the headrests. Bring them up or down. Yeah. You can also adjust them back and forth. But for some reason, looks like it doesn't work in here. What else do we have? Aside from the power adjustable seats, the massage and everything else, you've got separate climate controls. But when I say separate, it does have a separate air conditioning loop. But when you bring the temperature up a bit, when you want to get a bit of heat going back here, and you no longer need the AC, That also brings up the temperature for the dual-zone climate control up front, which means everybody else will be cooking in here as well.
When the rear passenger adjusts the climate control back here, that turns on the heat inside the entire cabin.
Yes. Meanwhile, everybody gets their own cooling settings. The front seat occupants can go full tropical jungle, while the backseat passengers stay cool. It's a pretty weird layout. If we take a Majesta, there you can't adjust the temperature, just the fan speed. In here, though, you have sort of a fake separate climate zone.
Let's not forget that this car came out way back in 1994. This was probably state-of-the-art back in 94.
The Crown Majestas did have something similar. Anyway, we also have radio controls back here, which you can use to control the screen in the dash. Also, we have two cup holders. How do you turn this off?
There's a power button right here.
We also have heated seats for both sides. Two cup holders. And that's pretty much it. You can stow away the armrest for additional space. The doors contain a few ashtrays and cigarette lighters, plus the power window switch. I have to say, there is a ton of climate vents in the back. Up here,
In the center console, and down on the floor.
on the floor, it also comes with an air ionizer in the back.
Yeah, the controls for the Ionizer are located next to the steering column.
That's weird. Why didn't they put any controls back here? I mean, it would have made sense, right? You're sitting back here smoking.
Smoking's bad for you, man.
Well,
Don't forget about that.
and here's yet another interesting bit. A coat hanger.
On both sides. It has a nice feel to it when you release it. It makes you want to hang out and just keep pressing it.
If you were to go on a long road trip, aside from the massage function, you've got this coat hanger here to keep you entertained. The grab handles are covered in leather. You have some map lights, one for each side. A Chinese parking radar. Yeah, it has that too. This is a great place to be. These stuck floor mats are also pretty cool.
It's very nice and cozy back here. Unfortunately, you can't get that on film, but that high-end Japanese luxury car smell. Every time you get inside this car, you can...
That's the smell of aristocracy.
Yep, you can really feel it. You immediately know what's up.
Some of these cars don't have any of this. This is what they call the F package.
Yeah,
Without the F package, all you get is the adjustable seats, and nothing else if I remember correctly. No massage, some of the other options are gone.
no heated seats, no buttons to adjust the sound system and everything else up front.
You still get the climate controls, but no sound system. Let me just chill in here for a bit. You want to maybe stay and live here? Let me help you. Oh, I love that sound. Sleepy time.
The top priority for the Celsior is ride comfort. Even when driving on these huge 19-inch wheels with the low-profile tires, it is still a comfortable thing. It does a great job of filtering out the small cracks and ripples. Meanwhile, these wheels give the car a sharper turn in. It's pretty good at going wherever you point it.
I have to say, this car does feel pretty solid. I love the way it drives down the road. Very nice. The wheelbase here is quite long, so despite the car being fitted with a straight pipe exhaust, you can barely hear it. It drones ever so slightly. but it doesn't bother you.
The sound insulation in here is top-notch. As you said, this car does have an exhaust, but it doesn't make your ears bleed. You don't even have to raise your voice in here. We have no problem hearing each other. What's nice about the cabin is that all of the wood trim pieces in here are made from real wood. I don't think any other car aside from the Century. What about the LX and the Cygnus?
You're right, the LX and the Cygnus also had it. As for everything else, including the Majesta, they came with fake wood in the cabin. The main change they made up front for the ucf21 Celsior is the dual-zone climate control. The screen is pretty simple, nothing particularly special, just navigation,
Which doesn't work in Russia, unfortunately.
Yeah. We also have a 6-disc CD changer, and that's it, and an outside temperature readout. Outside temperature.
The Celsior is actually one step above the Toyota Crown. However, this one feels more like an American car, which makes sense considering that it was created with that market in mind. A bunch of features that you take for granted in a Crown are missing in here. For example, the Crown's air vents have a swivel function, which the Celsior lacks.
I think the ucf30 had that, no?
I don't remember, to be honest.
The dials are pretty basic, even though the gauge cluster is an Optitron unit. There is no heads-up display. Apparently they reserved that for the Majesta. This doesn't have that. The sound system is pretty nice. You have 4 main speakers, a few tweeters in the corners, and a subwoofer in the back.
I'm pretty sure that there's a speaker in the dash.
No, there are no speakers in the dash.
Unlike the Aristo.
Yep. So you get a 4-to-1 system, correct? You get this nice armrest in the middle, which is very soft.
It's also pretty wide, meaning you don't have to fight over it with your passenger. But only the rear passengers get heated seats. Despite this being a leather interior, here only the back seats are fitted with heaters.
Perhaps this isn't the highest trim level, considering your seat doesn't come with memory settings.
Unfortunately, there is no memory function for the seat.
Some of these cars do have it though,
Which is typically located over here.
Other features include cruise control, automatic headlights. As usual, this thing doesn't come with automatic wipers.
While we're on the subject of automatic headlights, we just went through a tunnel, and I couldn't understand why the gauges went dark, but as soon as we got out, they became bright again. Now it all makes sense.
Aren't the headlights on now? I'm guessing that they were switched off at that point.
No, the headlights are working. They're on, but the headlight sensor works in such a way that when you enter a tunnel or any other dark place, it dims the gauge cluster. The stock doesn't even have to be in the auto position.
The grab handles and the steering wheel are clad in leather. So are the seats. What else?
It's a European's dream.
Oh yeah, it's ideal for the European perverts. They love themselves some German films and leather. Give it some gas. .5. You nailed it.
It's a great feeling, having all of this torque from this engine.
130.
Let's not get too carried away.
I think we should go to that rest stop. I like this thing. This car is so nice and smooth. You don't get much of a sense of speed in here. It's not a thrilling car. But after a long, exhausting day, you get inside, drive home, and you're feeling good.
I think the best way to go is to find a long straight highway and maintain a leisurely 100 or 120 Ks with the occasional overtaking maneuver. So not only is this car good looking, it's quite reliable too. The key element in here is of course the 1UZ-FE motor. I don't think there are any car enthusiasts out there who have never heard of this engine and don't know what it's capable of. Plus you have that 340 series auto box. This pair is just
bulletproof. Exactly. It's also a seriously comfortable car. It's a very nice place to spend some time. It's not as exciting as some sports coupe, for example. But that's not what this car is about. They've done such a fantastic job with the suspension. The architecture is based on some classic double wishbones. And even on these huge 19-inch rims with the low-profile tires, the ride comfort is superb. Not only that, this car feels pretty tight. It's a solid thing, and driving it makes you feel pretty good. I'd buy one, but I don't want to spend the cash. Subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and hit the notification bell. Even though I still don't see the point. Later, leave us some comments. Tell us everything. Everything that you guys think about us. Stop giving those guys cars!